And so we're talking about that today because we want to talk about how great it is to live in these times. And I know we don't ever feel that way, but I'm convinced that down through time, most of the time, people have felt the same way. Whatever time you're in, it's always the same, right? It feels like, oh, well, why did I have to be born now? Why couldn't I have been more exciting time? And then he says, and you will have knowledge of what is true, and that will make you free. And they said to him in answer, we are Abraham's seed, and we have never been any man's servant. Why do you say you will become free? And this was the answer that Jesus gave them. Truly I say to you, everyone who does evil is the servant of sin. Now the servant does not go on living in the house forever, but the Son does. And if then the Son makes you free, you will be truly free. I am conscious that you are Abraham's seed, but you have a desire to put me to death, because my word has no place in you. And I say the things which I have seen in my Father's house, and you do the things which come to you from your father's house. And in answer, they said to him, our father is Abraham. And Jesus said to them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do what Abraham did. And so as we're thinking about that, because we're talking about, and have been talking, and will always continue in some degree to be talking about going on with God. Understanding what God's will is, fulfilling God's call and destiny in my life. That's what we've been talking about. And I mean, that's really the goal of being a disciple, of being a Christian. And so God wants us to understand that there's some very practical things. And it's interesting what he said. He says, I speak to you these things because I heard them from my Father. So the word that Jesus delivered was the message that God was speaking to his people. And he said, but you do the things that you do because you learned them at home. Isn't that interesting? That Jesus is sharing the things that he had heard at home with people who had learned totally different things in their homes. And isn't that true that, I remember when I first got married, that you have this assumption when you get married that, you're both Christians and everything, so you get married, you come together, and then you sort of assume that everything else is the same, right? Everything else is the same, the same rules about how we clean the house and who takes out the garbage and all the stuff like that. It's all the same, right? Everybody was raised the same way, but of course that's ridiculous. Nobody's raised the same. And so once you come into an environment like that, where you come together to live together, you find out that, whoa, wait a minute, you have totally different views on some of those things than I have. Right? And as we come together, we have totally different views on how we raise our children. What is acceptable, what's unacceptable. We have totally different views about a whole bunch of things, about what is the proper way, clothes to wear and things like that, right? How much time you can spend in the bathroom getting ready, that kind of stuff. And then just to be fair, I spend way more time in the bathroom getting ready than my wife does, although she looks much better than I do. So I guess I just need the extra time to get it together. But that's just the truth. And so when we come into a relationship with Jesus, it's the same thing, right? We come into this intimate relationship with Jesus, and we assume that other than being born again, all the rules are the same that I've already learned, right? Wrong.